Ciao, ciao. Good evening. How are you? How are all of you? Before we start the stream, सबसे पहले मैं और Ritam, we definitely want to thank our Indian Armed Forces for keeping us safe and keeping us secure, and we absolutely salute you and we respect whatever has happened over the last 4 5 days. So just want to start off with that. Big match today, Ritam. It is
Yes.
Atlanta versus Roma, Monday night calcio. And thanks for joining in. It looks like you're all ready and prepped up for this game. How are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously the thing is that when the season started, obviously I had high expectations from the team. I think everyone had Atalanta as one of the favorites for the Scudetto, and we started the season like that only. Then obviously came our downfall phase when many of our defenders went off injured. Lugman went off injured. Obviously, Retegi was injured for some time, and obviously we had some games where we couldn't control the game enough and lost in a very disappointing fashion. So yeah, our focus was then restricted to top four. At one point, it seemed that even top four may be out of grasp when we lost three games in a row against Inter, Fiorentina, and Lazio. But then we recovered against Bologna, and now we are obviously in the driver's seat for the top four. It
Absolutely.
is it is a bit different for Roma, who had not had a good season start, but I think they have recovered really well under Claudio Ranieri. So yeah, I think Roma will need the win more, but Atalanta we cannot be complacent at
Hmm.
all. Like, yeah, the top four isn't sealed yet. Like, we have to win this game to seal top four. So let's see what happens.
Fair. So, Ritam, the start that Atlanta made was fantastic. And Atlanta
Yes,
are traditionally very slow starters, and then towards the end of the season they pick up pace. And you saw that last season also, like how they were
yes,
managing both, Europa League as well as Serie A. So notoriously slow starters, but eventually they pick up. But this time Atlanta started really well, and like you mentioned, was in that three-horse race. You can say along with Inter and Napoli for the Scudetto. Uh, then 2025, I think 2025 onwards is where Atlanta suffered this uh, run where they weren't getting any wins. It was becoming difficult, like you mentioned, injuries also popping up, and then that Champions League elimination. How much did that hurt, man? I mean, because Atlanta, everyone, including me, we had Atlanta going a long way in the Champions League, at least to the latter stages. And given how good the group stage was, I definitely did not expect Atlanta to get knocked out by Club Brugge. I mean, it's beyond me. I mean, I don't know what went wrong. If you can just explain to everyone watching in the chat, where do you feel the whole Champions League debacle happened?
yeah. The thing is that our main problem was that we couldn't focus on one tournament. Like, our team, it has a solid depth, but still the kind of depth we have is not enough to manage three competitions. Gasperini couldn't focus on one competition and played the strongest starting 11 in all the three competitions, which obviously uh, made Atalanta suffer with injuries, in which impacted the obviously which impacted the league also and the Champions League. But the thing is that you just have to play well. You have to manage the game, and Atalanta couldn't manage the away leg at Club Brugge well. Obviously, there was that controversial penalty awarded to Club Brugge at the last minute of the away game. But still, we managed that game better, we could have had a really solid advantage coming to the home leg. And when we were behind in the home leg, we tried to go all out attack, which led to us getting countered. And Club Brugge, their counters was devastating. Three shots,
Hmm.
three goals, three counters, three shots, three goals. Like, obviously that first 30 minutes of that game proved that obviously Atalanta, yeah, we were going out of the Champions League. And obviously we tried, like in the second half we tried a lot. We scored an early goal, like just after entering the pitch in the second half we scored a goal through Lugman. We missed a penalty, we hit the post a couple of times, but still, like, that's the thing, we couldn't manage the game and we were tactically outclassed. Like, our our defense obviously we fielded a very slow defense at that time because I think Kosuno was obviously injured, Scalvini was injured, Hien was also I think injured at that for that game. So we had to field Toloi, who notoriously got a red card for acting a bit stupid at
Yeah.
towards the end of the game. Everybody
Yes.
remembers, I guess. So yeah, we had to field a very
Ex
slow
Roma
defense.
player है यार. Ex Roma player है Rafael Tolo. Indeed, I
Yes.
remember him.
Yes. So yeah, I think it is a problem with Roma with to players like Toloi and Mancini. I think they get a bit of hot-headed sometimes. Like that's the thing.
हाँ.
We we had
मानचीनी
to.
मानचीनी मानचीनी गुंडा है लेकिन हमारा गुंडा है. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love him. I love him to bits and pieces. Sorry, so you're going on.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Like I also loved Mancini when he was in Atalanta. But yes, that's the thing. We had to field a really slow defense against Club Brugge, and they had really fast players. They had a good hold-up striker, Ferran Jutla. So it is the rule book of the game. Like if you plan a squad, if you build a squad well, you can win against any opposition in the world. So that's the thing. They hit us on the counters. That's
Hmm.
how we got knocked out.
In my assessment, it looked like Club Brugge were like Atlanta, wearing Nerazzurro,
Yeah,
and you're playing very clinical like Atlanta. Like Atlanta are known for their quick counters and precision finishing, and that's been Gasperini's trait. I mean, the likes of Duan Zapata, Luis Muriel, Ilicic, Papu Gomez. When all these guys were there, Atlanta was so good countering, and they would just just counter attack, overload, and you know with precision finish the chance. So I think in this year the Champions League, probably like you mentioned, maybe handling two competitions at once, it just became a little overwhelming. And this is a squad that has obviously come from winning the Europa League, and the expectations were high now that now Atlanta will take the next step. And like you mentioned, the form also took a dip in the league, and there was a time when Atlanta were there to challenge the Scudetto, but I think those three defeats in a row, like you mentioned, just meant that Inter and Napoli pulled away. We have a comment from Param is here. What's up, NM bro? Chat. अगर आपको जो भी questions पूछना है, please put your questions. Bodean's question is here. So rather, he's saying that Atlanta's are everyone's favorite hipster team. They like to entertain, work in Europa League, but won't happen in the UCL. They need some villains like a Gattuso type of character to win. What do you make of that?
yeah,
Gattuso as a
obviously.
player, not as a coach. Okay, please, Bodean as a coach, he is absolutely horrendous.
Well, as a player, we had our Gattuso, but after a few unpleasant incidents, he stopped being Gattuso. Like
Who?
Martin Dirun was
Menon is
once that
still
type
there.
of player. He even tried to strangle the referee in one Milan game, if you remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was a bit hot-headed, and obviously that's why we love him. Like he used to fight for his teammates. He used to stand up for his teammates. He obviously had that kind of character which made Atalanta win a lot of games with his captaincy leadership. He's currently the captain of the team. But yeah,
Yeah.
after a few unpleasant incidents with the referees, he stopped being that. He's now a lot calm. That's the
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, he's right. Obviously, we need villains in the team, like someone who'd take one for the team, someone who'd play a bit dirty, like someone who'd uh, master that aspect of gamesmanship. That's the thing. Like someone who'd tackle the last man if someone is on the counter, like Fede Valverde did for Real Madrid. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need characters like that. So
Yeah.
obviously, for our budget, it is a bit tough, but still, he's right.
No, fair enough, fair enough. And see with Derun, the guy comes up with clutch goals always against teams. He scored a couple of times against Roma. Goes on Twitter and posts some, a funny meme. That's typically what Derun has been doing. And not only Roma, he's always scored against tough opponents. He stands up and comes clutch, when it matters. So moving on to tonight's game. So obviously this is a 12:15 kickoff on GXR, still on GXR. I don't know till when, but it's there in GXR. अगर कुछ change रहेगा तो मैं बताऊंगा. But this is how Atlanta are going to line up with Karnaseki in goal, and just go through the predicted lineup. Ritam, I think Isaac Hen is suspended, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And
That's a
Lookman,
huge
I heard,
miss.
is, yeah, that's a huge
Yeah,
miss. That's a huge miss. And I heard that probably Lookman is going to come back into the lineup.
yeah. Obviously, he is going to start. It was the same with Reteki last week. Like everybody thought Reteki would be injured against Monza, but he came and obviously started and had to assist that game as well. I think Lugman might start. So yeah, it was a injury scare. It was an injury scare, but I think he's fine. He has done two training session. So yeah, let's see who starts where. That's
So
the
this is
thing.
the defense. Do you think this is the defense that will be of Derun, Jim City, and Kosunu, or are there
Yes.
any changes?
Um, I think obviously, if it is possible, if it is possible, then Ruggieri might start at the LCB if it is possible. Otherwise, I think Dirun may drop there. Or another probability is that Belanova may drop into the right centre back position, like
Hmm.
he did against Milan. If you remember, he pocketed Liao in the first half. But yeah, the thing is that Cuadrado is Juan Cuadrado is
He's out.
injured for this game. So
Yeah.
yeah, it will be tough. Let's see what we line up in defense. But I think Didun and Ederson will be the pivot. I don't think Didun will play as the right center back.
Fair, fair, fair. I think Gasperini Chacha will pull out some rabbit from the hat the way it looks like, because that's what typically he does. Very, very astute manager, Gian Piero Gasperini. Just having a look at Roma's lineup, this is what has been a standard now over the last couple of games, with Svilar in goal, obviously, and Endeka, Mancini, Zeki Celik, the three centre backs. And in the middle of the park, you will have Brian Cristante, Sir Brian Cristante, ex Atlanta,
Yes.
and Manu Kone Pisilli. So Pisilli replaces Lorenzo Pellegrini, whose season is over. Angelino starts as left wing back. Matias Sule starting in that right wing back position, which he's been pretty good. And you can see Zeki Celik does push up and cover that position. And Eldor Shomurodov and Obik looks like they will start again for the third game in running. So this is what tentatively the lineup looks like for both teams, Atlanta and Roma. Just looking at the form coming into this game, obviously Monza at home thrashed by Atlanta, but Atlanta getting that draw against Lecce, and away win against Milan, home win against Bologna, direct rivals, European rivals, you can say, but that loss, like Ritam mentioned, against Lazio. Roma now 19 matches unbeaten under Claudio Ranieri, one of the best runs that we've been on. 1-0, 1-0 wins, you can see narrow wins, both against Fiorentina and Inter, and of course Hellas Verona as well. So definitely, you can say that this is something's got to give in this game, Ritam. What do you think?
Yeah, the thing is that if someone can end Roma's unbeaten run, it should be us. Like we have
It can be Gasperini.
traditionally, yeah, yeah, it can be us. Like the thing is that we had historically we have stopped Roma from getting top four more than two times or something like that. I remember in
Last 2 years,
2020
not
when
historically, it's last couple of years, man. You're not talking about the old days. Old days का historically थोड़ी है ये. Last couple of years, Atlanta definitely. You look at the record. Just Atlanta just winning comprehensively. I think the last win was that Jose Mourinho 4-1 win, which was away from home. That is.
yeah, but I also remember one game in 2020 in February where Pasalic came and scored two goals. That game, before that game, I remember Roma fans they were optimistic about the top four chances, and obviously that game leapfrogged us above Roma. I think Juventus
Who
were the table toppers at that
who are
time.
these?
Lazio were
Who are
second.
these optimistic Roma fans? Who are these optimistic? I don't know any optimistic Roma fans. I only know pessimistic Roma fans like me.
At that time there were like I don't remember who the coach was, but at that exact time Roma was in a really good form in that January February run 2020 before the lockdown. So yeah,
I'll tell you. Before the lockdown would be Paulo Fonseca, and
yeah,
it has been a while since Roma got to the Champions League, both under Fonseca and Mourinho. So I see the thing is that the form, the head-to-head form is against Roma right now, and even like you mentioned, Atlanta would try to finish the streak of Roma. I think the only man who can get us out of this negative run against Atlanta is Claudio Ranieri. So it
yes,
is
agree.
literally, I would say, a battle of two really good Italian coaches, old school Italian coaches, that we will see tonight. And sadly, it is Monday night. I mean, it should have been a blockbuster Sunday night fixture, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Monday night calcio is there. The last time, obviously, the home leg. I don't want to speak about his home leg because of Zaniolo, but yeah, it's been the form book has been concerning for Roma. Just having a look at the table before we get your predictions and of course talk about Gasperini's future. So Atlanta are in third now with 68 points, like Ritam mentioned, in control of their own destiny for next season's Champions League qualification. Not done yet. Juventus and Lazio played out a one-all draw. It's a huge opportunity for Roma to get, if they get 3 points, to go to fourth place and be in charge of their own destiny. A draw would mean Roma will go to fifth ahead of Lazio, but will still remain behind Juve. So this is what the table looks like, and definitely a very exciting game coming up. NM has already given the predictions, but uh, what do you think, Ritam? How do you see this game going out, and uh, what do you think the tactical battles will be? Which are the battles that we need to look out for in the midfield, or head to head, and then you can end it with your prediction.
Yeah, the thing is that I expect a game obviously to be fairly competitive at least. But I have seen one thing that Lookman, he comes up clutch. He always comes up clutch in these situations, like against big teams, against Roma, Juventus. Obviously, you remember his hat trick against Leverkusen in the final. That was possibly
Yes,
one of the greatest hat tricks ever in Atalanta's history. So I think his marker will be Jackie Chelik, and it will be a good battle. Sule is very attacking minded, and Sule will be on his side. So I don't expect him facing Matthias Sule in a battle. Like Matthias Sule will be facing Ruggeri or Zappacosta, whoever will be on the left hand, whoever will be on our left hand side more. So I think Lugman versus Celik is a really good battle, which obviously we have to keep an eye on. Another battle I think Ederson and Manukone will be a really fantastic battle. If Manukone
yes,
starts and if Ederson starts both, so yeah, they are two of the best defensive midfielders in the league. And
the league for sure.
the way Manukone has performed in the last 2 or 3 months as like under Ranieri, I think it was fantastic. He's been on a world class form in recent times. Another battle I think is the battle of the goalkeepers. Obviously, they will not face each other, but Swiller and Karneseki, they are also by form one of the best goalkeepers, two of the best goalkeepers in the league. And Swiller, even though he hasn't done much against Atalanta in the 3 games he has faced us, still I think he is one of the Roma players who can change the game on any instant. He can keep
Yeah,
Roma in the game. He can save points for Roma. He can do everything. That's one battle we have to keep an eye on. That's the thing. I think Gasparini before has faced Ranieri, and I think has struggled as well. Like last year, we had lost against Cagliari in their home. So the tactical battle will also be fantastic. So I think it is a battle of that immovable object versus that
unstoppable force.
unstoppable unstoppable force. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think it will be a 1-1 draw. So it is my
fair,
predictions.
fair,
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, rightly said, very rightly said, Ritam, because you have a very classic Serie A battle between two wily old managers, and my assessment is that if Roma try to go man to man against Atlanta, then Roma are digging their own grave. So I think
yeah,
Atlanta will control the ball a lot. I think Ranieri will give the players will kind of hold their shape Atlanta will move the ball a lot. They will have possession. I will not be surprised. And Roma will try to play on the counter, which is a very dangerous game against Atlanta because Atlanta can also break through the lines as well. So, in my opinion, it is going to be a cagey game. I don't see like the 3-alls of the past that we have seen between Atlanta and Roma, not those kind of games. Because the problem with Atlanta is that if you try to take the game to them, then you need to be good enough to beat them or better than Atlanta. You can see that with Inter, like the way that Inter play, right? So if I was Ranieri, I would be looking at some tapes of Inter versus Atlanta and try to gauge how Inter generally set up against Atlanta. We'll take some comments. My prediction is, well, I think it's going to be a draw, but my heart is saying that we can score from a set piece or a penalty or something and then hold on to the lead. I mean, 1-0, 1-0 is the way to go. Give me all 1-0s and I'm happy. I keep on saying this 38 1-0s throughout the season, and for me that works. Uh, just a few comments. RS is here. Ciao, ciao, Param, GXR. Atlanta start off quickly but stumble before the finish. They are overworked. Maybe Gasperi leaving is a good thing. So we will come to this, Bodyan. I want to take this comment later because we will be talking about this, right? Atlanta is okay, fine, better than Milan. Atlanta will beat Roma 2-1. Is NM's predictions. Muzamil going 1-1 all or 1-0 Roma. Ranieri masterclass. Something that even I feel could happen. Uh, Hisham is new. Please like, share, and subscribe. And of course, also subscribe to Calcio Charcha and follow Atlanta Matches Views on Twitter, one of the most entertaining Calcio accounts over there. This is a question for you. Will Retegui score tonight and break Pippo Inzaghi's 1997 club record for goals in a Serie A season?
Well, I've been waiting for this since the last one, like since the game against Lecce. Like he scored the penalty against Lecce, he just hit the post, and I was thinking that if he could have scored that, he could have broken that record that day only. Because my focus at that time was not only about that record, but his golden boot race. He was also in the golden boot race at that time. Now, obviously, Mbappe has pull clear. Salah has pull cleared, but yeah, I think. Honestly hope that today is the day. Like our midfield cannot score. That's what I have understood from these last few games. That if someone has to score, it should be our attackers. Like
Yeah,
only our attackers scored in the last few games. Bar Ederson in that Milan game, of
yeah.
course. But yeah, let's see if he gets a dodgy penalty or something. If we get some, like as you said, set piece deflections or something. I
Yeah.
hope he scores. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that's
Retegui versus Roma's defense, especially Endika Mancini, will also be a good battle to watch
yeah.
out for because you have a very modern, agile striker against, I would say a very old school centre back in Mancini who doesn't have any pace, but he's definitely a master of the dark arts. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Param is also going for a 1-1 draw. Hisham is a United fan, but definitely watch Serie A games. Calcio is, I would say, very, very entertaining. Different cup of tea, definitely. Venezia won Fiorentina as well. So that kicks off at 10. Venezia trying to, avoid relegation. Eusebio Francesco versus Raffaele Palladino. आकाश मोरे रोमा कोच कंटिन्यू नेक्स्ट सीजन नहीं आकाश रैनियरी कंटिन्यू नहीं कर रहा है ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू नेक्स्ट सीजन he was retired. Roma got him back from retirement because we were in absolute troubles and shambles, and Ranieri being a Roma fan, a Romanista, came back, agreed to come back and salvage the season for us. And it is unbelievable, Ritam. Like, had you told me that we would be talking about Roma's Champions League qualification on match day 36, I would have laughed at you because I'm like, at least finish in the top 10. That would have been,
Yeah.
that was the expectation. But Ranieri being Ranieri is, I would say, quite a magician. And coming to that and Bodyan's question. So, Ritam, what do you think? Do you think Gasperini is leaving or is he staying?
Well, the thing is that it is a really confusing scenario with Gasperini right now, because after that Lugman fiasco in February, everybody thought he is going to leave after this season only. His contract expires in 2026. He has a lot of suitors, potential suitors waiting for him if he leaves Atalanta. Even the national team camp was looking for someone like him, obviously. But in the last few months, like after that Lukman fiasco has cooled down, he has given one or two interviews hinting that he would like to finish his contract here. Like he's trying to stay till 2026. Still, it is kind of confusing because our management is actively looking for coaches and is even contracting some of the coaches like Sari and Thiago Motta. They are even contracted in case Gasperini leaves Atalanta after the end of this season. That's the
What
thing.
is your gut feeling? What is your gut feeling? Your gut feeling on
I,
this?
I think he's staying. You know,
He's
because
he's staying.
yeah, yeah, he's staying
Okay.
because I think we are going to respect his contract. He's going to respect our commitment to him, and he's going to respect the contract we gave to him in 2023. Because mutual respect is the way to go, man. Like in the scenario of Serie A, where the companies, most of the companies, they are disrespecting coaches left and right. Obviously, I am talking about Milan. I think we have been fairly content with our coaches in our last few coaches, and we have mutually had really good relations, our president and our coaches. So I think it is going to, I think he's going to stay till the next season. After that he is going to leave.
Okay, fair enough. I think the way that I look at it is Gasperini, obviously, he's been in charge for Atlanta for quite a long time now. It's been, I think he's the longest serving current coach in Serie A, if I'm not mistaken, of the 20 clubs that are playing. So in my opinion, what has happened is that maybe, like the thumbnail mentioned, Roma did make an approach with Ranieri. Ranieri is Ranieri, right? So he has all the coaches on his contact list. And uh, there was a time when the Lookman, after the Lookman blow up, whatever happened, um, Ranieri probably and the Roma management did contact him. He did express a move to join Roma, and then that is why the rumors popped up. Then suddenly it died down. Then Roma, the names that Roma are linked to right now are Farioli, Vieira, even Fabregas was linked, but I think Fabregas is going to Bayer Leverkusen. So all that has happened, and again it has died down. Allegri, again, those names pop up. In my honest feeling, like if I had to pick a Roma coach, it would be either Allegri or Gasperini, because I feel that these are really two good coaches who would fit the profile. And more so, I would say the realistic chance, because Allegri, obviously he demands a lot of money. There is a lot of pride and prestige. Maybe if Roma make it to the Champions League, then Allegri becomes a real choice. If Roma
Yeah,
don't make it to the Champions League, uh, I feel that there would be an acceleration from Roma's management to get Gasperini. Now, whether he joins us or not, that's a different story. But definitely
yeah,
there would be some kind of contact. There, it is no coincidence, Ritam, that Dan Friedkin has landed in Rome before this game, before Atlanta Roma. He never comes. It is his son
yeah,
who generally, Ryan Friedkin. The father has come to Rome. There is something definitely happening, because Gisolfi, Ranieri, and Friedkin had a meeting a couple of days ago. So you never know what's happening in the scenes, behind the scenes. But I, for one, would definitely want Gasperini as one of the coaches, like definitely on the Roma bench, because of what he's done at Atlanta. He is the gunda of the team,
yeah,
you mentioned, and you need a absolute asshole to be there at the Roma bench to handle all the toxicity, everything that comes its way. And Gasperini himself would be looking to for a new challenge, because he's been at Atlanta for so long, probably achieved everything with Atlanta, and maybe he feels that he's taken Atlanta as far as he can. And I think with the club's ambitions, they would be looking at a coach who can take it forward and take Atlanta to greater heights. That's just my assessment. Let's see how it goes.
yeah,
Um, Abhishek goes for a 1-2 Roma win, away win. And bold prediction: Conte joining Juve if he decides to Napoli. Abhishek, this is the most open secret. I think Conte himself has always admitted that he wants to go back to Juve. I think if he leaves Napoli, that's a realistic option in my opinion. And if this happens, I feel Allegri might join Napoli. You never know. If the job becomes available at Napoli. Uh yeah, Inzaghi to Atlanta, what about it? I think these are just baseless rumors, man.
yeah. At this point there are few weak rumors from some of the sources, like I have already retweeted some on Twitter. But the
Yeah.
thing is that there is a concrete possibility of Inzaghi leaving Inter when his contract expire in 2026, but they are going to renew it for one more year. So yeah, in 2026 or 2027, I think there is a concrete possibility of Inzaghi leaving Inter. After that, where he goes, how much he fares there, that's another topic. But if he does leave, obviously, there were a few rumors about us also potentially having in our shortlist. So I think we will forward our project. We will try to convince him. If he joins us or not is a different question. But yeah, I do obviously don't think that he's, even though I'm one of the most one of the few optimistic Atalanta fans out there, I don't think he's going to accept our project because Inter to Atalanta is a downgrade in my honest opinion. So
Right.
yeah, but one more thing also is that he doesn't know English or something. So yeah, he's not going to go to some Premier League club right away.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
yeah, let's see what happens here. But it is a discussion for later. Yeah, we will talk
Fair.
about it in 2027. Yeah,
Fair, fair. Santa Baba, I don't know. Are you talking about Atlanta or are you talking about Roma? Because again, these are two potential things. So right in. I mean, which club are you talking about? I'm not pretty sure. Muzamil is like, what if Roma goes for Thiago Motta next season? Yeah, Muzamil, abhi tak there have been no links per se, but see, I think the way that Roma play football, Thiago Motta is a perfect fit. Like I would say, he's a better fit than a Max Allegri, for that matter. Because if you look at the Roma coaches of the past, Zednik, Siemens, Spalletti's, that's how Roma play that brand of football. So Thiago Motta is at least what he did at Bologna. At Juve, I think it was pretty disastrous eventually when it comes down to it. But I don't know at this point of time whether Thiago Motta is a realistic option because there's been nothing. There's no links, no contact, nothing. So I don't think so. This is going to happen. I think Motta will probably wait it for the PSG job if that comes available, or maybe somewhere else. But I don't think so. Roma is a destination for Motta, in my opinion. But yeah, if it's, I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't think so. It's going to happen this year. But yeah, nothing from Santa Baba so far. Anyways, I think that's about it. Any last few questions before we close the stream? We'll definitely take it. Uh, Ritam, who has been
yeah.
your favorite Atlanta player since you started watching? By the way, when did you start watching Atlanta play?
Yeah, yeah. I it is in my uh, pinned tweet on Twitter and
Yeah, yeah.
pinned video on Instagram. But I am going to explain it here also.
Please,
Like
please.
yeah, when I started watching football, I Syria used to be streamed on streamed on TV on the 10 2 sports channel. 10 at that time it
Sony,
was 10
Sony,
football.
Sony Sports. Yeah,
Sony
Sony 10,
Sports,
10, 10, 1,
Sony
10,
10
2.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. At that time, and at that time, the bigger teams, bigger Serie A teams played at the night time. Even now, also the 12:30 batch host the Juventus, Inter those game mostly. So yeah, I obviously was not that keen on football at the time to watch it in the night time, sacrificing my sleep because my school was also in the morning at that time. So I used to watch Syria games after I came home from tuitions, and I whenever I turned on the TV, it was either Atalanta or Lazio or smaller teams like Genoa, Sampdoria. They were only playing. So yeah, out of those teams, I saw Atalanta play, and I immediately got fascinated by the way Atalanta moved the ball. Obviously, Gasperini was the coach at that time also. The way Atalanta moved the ball, the way Atalanta pressed, it was honestly entertaining to watch. And yeah, I was always a enthusiast of fast-paced football. Like I prefer scoring a goal in two touches than passing, and getting into the penalty box and all that things. Like that's the thing. So the team tactics, and obviously when I first uh, at that time there was also a news article, small news article on Atalanta on the internet. I read it and I read the culture and the rivalry with Brescia. So yeah, a few of those things, what should I say, attracted me to the idea of supporting a provincial club. I didn't know much about history or something at that time. Like I only knew that Juventus, Inter were the more popular clubs in the Serie A. I watched La Liga also, but not that much. I was a fan of culture from the very beginning. That's the thing. Like I knew that Juventus and Inter were the more popular clubs, but I composed myself and I started to support a club which is not as big as them, but goes toe to toe with them at every possible meeting. Obviously, at that time, even Atalanta played the when Atalanta played the big teams, we didn't bend over and lose like by a big margin or something like that. Even in our initial years with Gasperini, we fought, we snatched out draws, we even beat Inter 4-1. Like the first Atalanta game I saw, we beat Inter 2-1 with a last minute goal from that Chilean striker. I forgot the name, but yeah, that was a really good moment and a moment I will forever cherish. So yeah, that is how I started supporting Atalanta.
Who's your favorite all-time player that you have watched for Atlanta?
Yeah, Josip Ilicic. No, no debate. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair.
I also made a reel about him on Instagram a few days ago and expressed how I miss him. That's the thing. Like whenever he used to be on the ball, he always used to create a danger in some way or the other. Always used to pass in the right areas. He always used to shoot from long range, which our current team is missing. Our current team don't shoot from long range anymore. Like our team has Ilicic, Papu Gomez, then Malinovsky, then Kub Miners who would score from long range in every possible opportunities. Now it is one of the problems in our team. That's the thing.
Juve,
I love watching Ilicic.
Juve fans will ask which Coop miners who shoots from long range. That's how he has
Yeah,
scored. But yeah, man. I mean, Ritam, thanks so much for coming and
yeah.
joining in. Abhishek, last few comments. Abhishek, what is Roma's style of play under Ranieri? See, it is a classic Italian way where Roma want to score first and maintain the lead. That's because of the points that Roma have lost at the start of the season. But yes, the owners want, like Ritam was mentioning, the way that Gasparini plays is very modern. One touch, two touch, man to man marking. Presses like a maniac when needed. Otherwise, other times he sits back in a mid block. So I think that is why Gasparini is, I would say, highly regarded as one of the coaches who has innovated a lot, and he's a master of the back three. Gasparini. I mean, right from his Genoa days, he is sworn to the back three, but even he has evolved his way of playing. It's not a very robust back three like, say, an Antonio Conte. So I think this is what the owners want. And if Gasperini comes, I mean, if he becomes available in the market, I'm sure a lot of clubs will be looking at him as a potential candidate to, be on the bench. And that's why it's no surprise that the Roma owners want, because he's got 1 year left on his contract. So yeah, that's long story short. Ravi is like, have you discussed about the next Atlanta manager? Who could it be? Yes, we have discussed. You can just go back and watch it. Ritam was mentioning there have been links to Maurizio Sarri, over the last couple of days. He could be a potential candidate to replace Gasparini. But again, a lot is unclear as of now. We will see when it comes to the end of the season. Good luck for the game, Ritam. I hope we have a cracking game tonight, and good luck for the remainder of the two games. Thank you so much for coming in, and subscribe to Calcio Charcha, subscribe to my channel, follow Ritam Atlanta Matches Views on Twitter. He keeps on posting stuff about Atlanta and about Calcio in general, so you'll get to know a lot about Atlanta in general from his Twitter account. That's about it, boys. Chat में अगर जो भी आप लोग ने questions पूछा, so really thankful. Thank you for all the love and support. Until next time, it's ciao ciao.